moving on, we've got our first inspirational speaker, Aimee Bond. Aimee's from Somerset, so that would have been before Solihull, I believe, in our A to Z icebreaker, and she's a young people's benchmarking forum champion. So
I'm Aimee Bond and I'm from Somerset. So if none of you know where Somerset is, it's so quite a lot of tourists come down to Burnham-on-Sea and Weston. That's sort of in my area. If not, it's just down from Bristol. And we're the like farmer talks. So anyone heard of the Wurzels? That's where they're from. So yeah, that's where I'm from. So to be completely honest, one of the reasons I got involved with participation in Somerset was purely out of boredom. So I would go along to sort of like different meetings that Somerset would host. We had Mark Riddell come down to Somerset and I met with him. We would have quite a lot of meetings around what do care leavers want. And that sort of thing. And I was involved in interviewing new workers and all of that. And after the meeting that we had with Mark Riddell, he suggested about getting me on an apprenticeship in the leaving care service. So that sort of got the ball rolling for me. And so there was an apprenticeship set up. I applied for it, and I got the job. So I done my level 3 children and young people's workforce in participation for Somerset County Council. So with the meeting with Mark Riddell, obviously we looked at what things that we didn't like in Somerset. And a big thing was around housing for young people. And that was what really set me on the path to want to make changes for our young people. I had obviously been through it all and come out the other side. And so I wasn't in those situations anymore. So it gave me a bit more courage to actually speak up about how bad my experience was. We used to live in a YMCA. That was the only supported accommodation for young people in Somerset. And it was just a nightmare. I was at college doing my health and social care course. And I was also holding down a part-time job at Toolstation. And because of all the parties that would be going on and all of that, I was kept up most of the night. There were people banging on your doors and that sort of thing, which once you've had no sleep one night, the last thing you want to do is go into college and concentrate. So I started falling down a downward spiral, and I don't want other care leavers to be like that. I don't want them to be in a situation that puts them in places like that. So once I had the meeting with Mark Riddell, that was when I started realising that actually, if I voice this and can get enough young people behind me, we can make changes. And that's when we started getting invited to more and more sort of bigger events with higher up people. I started sitting on panels with all of the big sort of Somerset County Council leaders, voicing change for our young people. And it was just really sort of, I felt not powerful, but I felt like I was achieving something. And for someone that was always told from a very early age that I was going to amount to nothing, that I was going to be a waste of space, and I couldn't do anything, to then be sat on panels with people like Julian Worcester, which is the head of children's services, and the main leads of every department under children's services, and to sit with counsellors trying to make change to policies that were in place. It just felt like I was actually doing something. I was making a change for people that needed that change. So when the first event came up, which was a regional one in Cheltenham, I thought this would be a perfect way to get ideas from other local authorities and to network with people, um, which was amazing. So I thought, right, let's take the leap of faith. Let's go to one of the events, see how it benefits me, and see how it benefits Somerset. And so I went to the event, and there were some fun activities, there was some really good food, and we are also started making connections. So we came back to Somerset with lots of brilliant ideas that other local authorities were doing. One that always took a big standout to me is Carefree Cornwall, because one of the big passions for me was setting up a mentoring scheme for our young people. Once I'd done that event, it was like, right, this is something that I'm really interested in. I really want to sort of go further, see what else is out there. And then I started coming, so that was about 3 years ago now. I came to my first Young Benchmark Forum sort of meeting. Um, the second time was I went to Birmingham for a celebration event, and I was just amazed at some of the work and some of the projects that other local authorities were doing. Um, we made good connections. So we went down to Cornwall to visit Carefree, which was a really good day trip. Anyone going down to Cornwall, it's got to be quite an event. So that was quite nice because we met with Carefree, and they also let us come to one of their young people sort of council meetings, which was good to see things in the pipeline. And it was quite good because we started sort of giving each other ideas. So they were looking at getting free bus passes for care leavers, which is something that as Somerset we were already looking into, and different ways around that. So we started sharing ideas. We formed quite good connections with North Somerset, which is Weston-super-Mare, that area, which again was quite nice because we came back with more ideas after seeing how they set things up. Um, and so it built really good relationships between different local authorities. The last one that I went to, it really empowered me. I've been thinking it since the year before, after hearing a couple of people speaking. And after we were in London, I thought, right, actually, I'm going to take the leap of faith here. I want to be a champion for Young Benchmark Forum. But the other years sort of held me back because I didn't think that I had much to give. Um, and having a little girl, I didn't think that I would be able to put in as much work as I wanted to. Um, and so it always held me back from coming. And I thought, actually, I'm seeing all of these amazing people on stage, and they're giving really inspirational speeches, and people know who they are. And I thought, actually, I want to be that person that people know who I am. Um, and so that was it for me. I thought, right, I'm going to join. And I filled in the paperwork, and Nat came back to me and said that I'd been accepted. And then I was invited down to Leeds for 3 days for a managers meeting, which, to be fair, I thought would be really, really scary. Um, and don't get me wrong, it was scary on a personal level, having to go to Leeds on my own, because I speak quite a lot at these meetings about how I'm I'm very much a country girl. Um, I don't like going on public transport. I definitely don't like leaving Somerset. And over this time, Young Benchmark Forum have sent me all over the country, from Leeds to Birmingham to London. Um, and so each step was essentially a brick to make my house. So this is a motto that I use very often, that everything I do in life, I want to build a house. And so the first step going to Coventry was a brick. Cheltenham, sorry, I keep mixing them up, was a brick in my house. Obviously getting my job at Somerset County Council, that was a brick in my house. And so each time I did things like this was an extra brick. And I'm very close to building my house now. I might have to put a conservatory or something on the back. So I was away for 3 days, which was obviously scary, being away from home and being away from my little girl. But I started making new friendships, and it started opening my eyes even more, because there was a lad that was in the group with us, that helps unaccompanied asylum seekers. So it gave me that sort of cultural, sort of like bigger view of things, because again, I've been very shielded from things. I haven't really had the chance or the opportunities to mix with people from different backgrounds and that sort of thing. So it was a really big eye-opener to me, and I made some amazing friends, that again I was really surprised with, because I tend to try and shield myself from people quite a lot, and it was so nice to actually see these people were just like me. They'd had similar backgrounds, and we were all here to make a difference. Then Nat threw me in and decided that my idea of an icebreaker was a good one. So I had to perform an icebreaker in front of all of the managers, and some very important people. But it went really well, and again, that was a boost in my confidence. That was another brick in my house. And then we had to do a speech about identity. And again, I spoke a lot about what Young Benchmark Forum and what my apprenticeship had given me to change my identity, because beforehand I never really thought about it. And to be honest, I never felt like I had an identity. And this is something that's come up in my pathway plans quite a lot. I'm just Georgia's mum. I'm just the apprentice. I'm just my partner's missus. And I've never been Aimee Bond. And that's something that sort of really comes home to me, that, and I never really like to think about it, but if it wasn't for Young Benchmark Forum, I wouldn't be Aimee Bond stood here giving this speech. I thought this plenty of times, but when you actually say it out loud, it's a big shock to the system that this is actually how much of a difference this apprenticeship has brought to me, and how much Young Benchmark Forum has helped me come out in my shell and show people who I really am. And this is coming from a sort of really not really looking at myself, but one good thing that all of this has brought out is that Somerset County Council have now got 4 new leaving care apprentices, which I'm hoping are in the celebration event today, but I'm not sure that they'll make it. But that's a good thing that's come out from it. I was almost like the guinea pig to see whether it would work, and it worked so well that they've decided to employ 4 new apprentices, which is brilliant. Because again, it's making that change and making those pathways for other care leavers to experience the stuff that I've had the pleasure of experiencing. From a personal point, and this might be going backwards slightly because it's not really going forward, but in my apprenticeship, because of the Leaving Care Forum, I and the work that I did with that, and the work that I did in my apprenticeship, I was awarded Somerset Apprentice of the Year, and so Advanced Apprentice. So that was in one category. And then in the second category, I won the Somerset Apprenticeship Champion of the Year. So I walked away from the event with the highest trophy going, which was amazing. So all of this has built in to give me the confidence to move on to do what I want to do. So when I finished my apprenticeship, everyone was biting my arm off. Everyone wanted a piece of me. Everyone wanted me to work in their team. Because of the sort of power that I show speaking to people. It doesn't really faze me speaking to a room of 100 or speaking to a room of 10 people. It doesn't matter whether I have the head of services or the Prime Minister in front of me. I seem to have a confidence that it doesn't matter who's sat in front of me, I can deliver what I want to say. I can deliver what I want to. And so everyone wanted that confident Aimee on their team. But I really wanted to go on to do another apprenticeship. So now I'm working in the SPOT team, which is for sensory physical occupational therapy. So it's working with young people with SEND needs, and it's around accessing the support that they need. So again, it's helping people. There has been a position coming up for leaving care, so I have gone for it. So fingers crossed I can go back into leaving care, as leaving care and care leavers are the most wonderful, amazing group of young people that you can work with. Some people might find it scary, but I find that every care leaver I've ever come across, they might have their challenges and they might be difficult at times, but the reward of breaking down that wall. So I look at myself and I always had this big wall up and no one was allowed in. And through the determination and the trust from my leaving care worker, she managed to climb that wall and she managed to comfort me when I needed comforting. And I want to be that person for young people. It is a passion of mine to be back in leaving care. And so I'm doing my level 4 children and young people's practitioner, which at the university I'm in would lead to me going into my second year of my social degree, to complete my social degree in 2 years after this course. And so I can really see things going well for me. And the thing is it's not just me that I want the best for. It's my little girl and it's my partner. And I want to make a difference to young people's lives. And I remember working with someone before when I was about 16, I think it was. And I spoke to this yacht worker. Just at one of the meetings that we were at, I came across him and we were speaking. And he explained that he was in a YMCA at the age of 14, and he was into all sorts, and he was in a very dark place. And he always thought that he was going to stay there. And one day he woke up and he thought to himself, right, actually, I'm better than this. I'm going to go back to college, I'm going to go to university, and I'm going to make something of myself. And I always remember thinking at that point, if he can do that, so can I. And I, again, want to be that person for young people that go, actually, you are more than what you think you are. You are a lot better than what people make out you are. And if you want to do something, if you have a dream to do something, you can follow that. Don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone put you down, because you are strong and you are brave and you can do whatever you want to do. Because I look at myself, a few years ago, I was a horrible person. I was into all sorts, and to be completely honest, I thought that I probably, if I carried on the path that I was on, I probably wouldn't be here speaking to you today. I probably wouldn't be here at all. And So I really think to myself that I'm glad that I changed the path that I was on, and anyone can change their path. You just want it enough, and I wanted it enough to change.
Hello, you all hear me? I think I speak for everyone. I say that's touched us all, and I'll be lying if I said I didn't get a little bit emotional with that. So, Aimee, if you're here now, I'm not sure if you're in the event, but I'm 100% sure you will get that job. And if not, then they're gonna have all of us to deal with anyway. So, congratulations on all the hard work you've been doing and that speech. I feel like I need him, and I've just been like ambushed now, speaking again when we've all been sat here like. Yeah, so well done again, Aimee. The key words. So I touched on the key words before. We're gonna have 4 keywords over the whole day. The first keyword is Raphael. That's not Ralph. That's Raphael. So remember that. There's gonna be 3 more to get, and then you can be entered into our prize draw.